Bison Media Zone on WDAY Xtra.
And welcome, everybody, to the Bison Media Zone here on WDAY Xtra. We do it each and every Wednesday at 10:35, chatting everything about North Dakota State athletics. And today we get a chance to visit with the women's basketball head coach of the Bison, Mr. Jory Collins, good enough to join us. We have not talked to Jory since the season ended, which seems like it was 8 years ago, considering the amount of things that have happened since the end of March. Happy May. How hectic was the last 30 days for you?
I mean, fairly hectic, Dom. I mean, we obviously played later than we ever have, and so our postseason stuff was shorter. I think we were only on the court for a couple weeks. We got about 4 weeks of lifting in, but needed to sign 2 kids here in the spring. We had 2 freshmen signed early. Amelia committed in January, so we knew she was in the mix, and then needed, a couple. So had our hearts set on, seeking out a post presence, and then needed to fill another guard spot and couldn't be happier with how we did it. But yeah, I mean, that's all. It's pretty hectic. I mean, it's a daily what's going to happen today type deal and who's available and all that stuff.
So I got to ask, it's May 1st and the portal now is officially closed. Are you jumping up and down that it's done now?
Not really. I mean, our kids were great. I mean, I bring them all in, and I ask them, and then you get an answer, and then you might get a different answer 2 weeks later. Because you just don't know. I mean, the worst time is, right after the season where you don't see anybody, you get a week off. And most, some kids go home and you have no idea what's happening at home and what those conversations are like. And then you find out when everybody gets back. But I wasn't worried about anybody on our team. I know, with Elle Evans was somewhat anticipated. We talked at length about it, not just this year, last year. And so those are things that you're somewhat prepared for. We wouldn't have recruited Amelia Hobson in January and February if I didn't think this was a possibility at some points. So right here. So you're trying to prepare for all those things. But yeah, I mean, it's our group that's returned was pretty committed about it. So I haven't been I've been better than a lot of coaches. I can promise you that the last couple weeks.
Well, that's a great point, and I appreciate your being forthright because I want to ask you about in this era, especially in your profession, how hard is it not to take it personally when you develop a player, you find a player, develop a player, she becomes great, and then decides to leave? How do you not take that personally, Jory?
Well, I don't know if you can.
Yeah.
You try to. These are young kids, and, I love Elle Evans, and she was fantastic for us and did all the things we asked her to do. But it does rip your guts out a little bit. You put your time and energy into people, and you don't get to, reap as much as you sow sometimes, and that's just the way it is. And we've talked about this, and Dave and I have talked about this. It's what you don't want it to do is, callous you up so that you don't pour into the kids that are committed to you because you're trying to protect your feelings. So, I'm an adult and I'm a grown up and I got to be able to be tough about it and really just concentrate on the kids that do want to be here. Those are the ones that fill you up and fill your heart up about what you're doing, and they're the ones that make it worth it.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. I appreciate you being forthright on that. Tell me about the end of this. I mean, you see that Minnesota team make a run all the way to the championship game. You're thinking, boy, if we close that out, we have a chance to do what they did.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we would have had a chance. I mean, I thought we had a great comeback there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I thought we showed a lot of guts and whatever that run was, now we're getting far away from it. I can't even barely remember, Don.
I know.
15-0 run or something. And just didn't finish. Had a couple turnovers late and couldn't get it done, but would have had a chance, would have had a good chance. I wouldn't have been overly excited about getting on a plane right away and going to Laramie, Wyoming. but we would have
Yep.
and would have put our best foot forward there. So, uh, it was fun. It was everybody on our team enjoyed that, and obviously wish we could have got that win. But I think that whole process leading up, having the Montana game at home, all those things were really good for our program.
Tell us about, first we're going to start with each of the additions that you made in. You mentioned Amelia Hobson from Australia. How do you find out about a player like her, and what can she bring to your basketball team next season?
Yeah, I mean, she's you just have some connections, and a guy that works her out there. Played over here, used to live here, actually used to live in North Dakota, and so you try to match up. Who is this person that's telling me about her? Do I trust this person? And then does the film match up? And Amelia's is pretty obvious on film. I mean, she's 6'1", lefty, can really, really shoot it. Athletic, she can grab the rim. I mean, she's got all kinds of potential. And then her personality matches up with her work ethic and what she wants to do as a basketball player and all those things. So, what's going to be probably for her, she's not going to be able to be here till August.
Okay.
Just being an international student. So, depending on how fast she can get caught up, in August, September, October, before we play games, will probably determine how much she impacts us early in the season. But I would expect Amelia over the course of her career here pretty early to be an impact player.
That was my next question. Just with the transition, is this something you can expect her to be an impact player for you in this upcoming season?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think so at some point for sure. I mean, she'll be able to come in and make shots. I mean, right away. It's going to be how much does she get dialed in defensively and just scheme stuff and being able to play there. But, she can score the ball. She can defend. She's a big guard, long wing, just the direction we've been trying to get going. She fills those things up.
We had Molly Lenz on the show a couple weeks ago, Jory, after she announced she was going to transfer in from Illinois State. Eden Prairie kid, again out of the Twin Cities. Tell me about your relationship with her and how early that started and what she can bring to your team for next season.
Yeah, honestly, we didn't recruit Molly much in high school only because she committed pretty early. And then, Taryn committed to us early. And, at that point, a few years ago, it was, I don't even think we had portal stuff yet. So you kind of were projecting out, hey, we really only need one guard in this class. And she was committed, and we had our commit, and that was really it. Now, I watched her play, 50 games in the summer because of the team she was on and who she was competing for, and was like, Illinois State's getting a really good player. And she became available, and that matched up with, she's a very good point guard. She's a very good off-ball guard. I mean, she's a winner. And I've heard nothing but fantastic things from people that have coached her coaches last year, high school coach, just about her makeup and what kind of teammate she is and willing to do anything. And, she was, I don't know, I think she was the sixth best player in Minnesota, according to one thing coming out. So just high level kid, going to be able to fill some needs for us as well.
Point guard, how high a priority was that for you in this process, in the portal process of finding somebody to take that mantle over?
Well, I wouldn't say that we were looking for a point guard necessarily. I mean, I'm in love with Marisa Frost coming in. I think she's one of the best point guards that I've ever got to recruit, and I'm really, really excited. And obviously, she's going to come in as a freshman, so we'll see. Obviously, Schulte's manned it for us the last couple of years and done a terrific job. But we talked about her moving off the ball a little bit this year, being a lockdown defender, having a chance to drive it more from the wing and maybe moving back to some wing for us. Just so we can, you're always looking to how can we get our best guys out there most often. And so we'll maybe have some people move around a little bit, but the ball handling, being able to pressure the ball in the full court, some things like that we just haven't been able to do the way I'd like to do it really lately, will be kind of exciting for us, I think, next year.
I visited with Sacia Vanderpool last week. You actually recruited her out of high school. It's 4 years later, she accepted your scholarship offer. Give us the backstory on getting Sacia to come to Fargo.
Yeah, I mean, back then we were looking at anybody that could walk and chew gum and had some size. We were probably offering everybody back then. But Sacia obviously was a big post player, put up really good numbers in high school, played on a really good team with, she was, Aoka Lee was, the one in front of her when she was younger. And so I got to battle with her and, it's fine. You end up losing her to Wisconsin. You're like, okay, she's going Big Ten. You don't take that. At least we're on the right kids. She ended up going there and just, playing for a coaching staff. They had a coaching staff change and didn't play for the people that recruited her and never really got to get any traction going after her redshirt year. And, she's looking for an opportunity to impact a good team. And it just really matched up this time around. Her brother's coming to play football. Great for their family to be here. The thing I love most about her, she's getting ready to graduate this summer, and she could have just hung it up and said, I did the basketball thing and I'm done. But she's really been adamant about, I got more to give and I got some things to prove. And I love that mindset about her.
6'4" also doesn't hurt either, right?
No, I mean, she's big, moves well. I can't wait to get in the gym with her. And just see, what we got there and how she can impact us. It's, she's obviously quite different from Drapes and Mariley and what we have at that position right now. So being able to add another dimension and just something a little bit different, you play different teams and sometimes it requires, different things. And she gives us some versatility there for sure.
When you add up the players you brought in and the returning players you have, you already know this stat, you'll have 6 players at 6 foot or taller. That is a huge team for a mid-major Division I basketball team, no?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying. Yeah. I mean, that's something that, that's a thing in basketball that really, doesn't always show up, you can see it when passing lanes aren't very open.
Yep.
When you throw it over somebody's head occasionally and somebody's playing good defense, but you just snatch it out of the air above them. Those are things that don't go on the stat sheet all the time, Don. But, man, length matters. Yeah. That's why you look at the NBA as average dudes like 6'8". I mean, it matters. But you got to be able to play too. And we've just been really lucky to be able to get some length and talent to match up and fortunate to get them here.
Couple minutes left here with Jory before we let him go. Tell us, for fans that don't know, Jory, what's the off-season plan now? The portal season officially closes now. What is the next month, 6 weeks look like for you and your staff? Yeah,
so our girls are working out. We have voluntary lift this week. It's like a dead week before finals, yep. So we can't be. We finished our last basketball workout on Friday. They'll have their last lift. I think they're going with Coach Meade on this Friday. We'll have a short meeting as a team. They'll have finals next week, but really they get to be on their own here until we get back in June.
Okay.
So June 3rd, we start kind of camp season and our summer workout schedule. And I think we'll have everybody here but Amelia from Australia in the summer. And we get 8 weeks in the summer. And, we do some 8 hours a week of skill work and lifting, camp, all that kind of stuff. So this is a time coaches, it's a recruiting period here in a couple weeks. Got the recruiting shutdown next week.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go somewhere or do something, our coaches, I think Dylan's leaving for Spain today.
Oh, wow.
His girlfriend for like 7 days.
Nice.
So I'm happy he gets to get out of
here.
But yeah, this is a little more downtime. And really for us coaches, we do, this is my big reflection time of the year on going back over basketball and kind of deciding what we need to tweak and change up and then get it going in June again.
Couple other things here. Just looking at where women's basketball is, how excited are you? We've talked about this all the time, I know, when your weekly appearances. Now, for the next season, Caitlin Clark's now playing professional basketball, but how do you keep the momentum going in your mind, Jory, for next year and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, I still think there's some pretty dynamic individuals in the game that, Paige is still there.
Yep.
Juju is going to become a little bit even more of a household name next year, I think. And there's some teams that are, there's some super teams forming out there with the portal and people going places. There's going to be some new rivalries. And, I think people will take those spots that Caitlin did. Once you get people excited about it and they watch it and then all of a sudden they walk away and be like, well, that was fun. I think they're just much more apt to come back and do it again. And so hopefully we can ride that wave and Caitlin's, aura, whatever it was, her everything about what she was doing is kind of lifted the game. And hopefully, that's where it takes off from, next year and we continue to build on it.
Who you got coming in? You got a good schedule? You know who you got coming? You're trying to get a big-time team to come in next season?
I don't know if we'll get a big-time one at our place. I mean, we're gonna play a good schedule again.
I knew that.
But we're still working. For me, it's going to go into July, Dom, till we're all the way done with our schedule. We need our league to tell us when we're playing.
That'd be helpful. That would be helpful, right?
That would help do a lot of things. Our Big Sky Challenge, it would help to know when we're playing, who we're playing, and where we're playing. So we're waiting on some things to come through, but it'll be a good schedule again.
Speaking of the Big Sky, South Dakota has a new coach. Idaho's Carrie Amy got officially introduced. Do you know her at all? I know she coached at Kearney.
Coached against Amy for maybe her first 3 years at Kearney. And then when she was an assistant at Hayes, I was an assistant, and then I was a head coach when she was still the assistant for a couple years. So I've coached against her 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Okay.
So great coach. Husband Devin works with her. They bust their butts. They're going to be good for USD.
I appreciate the time as always, bud. It's great to see you. I hope you get a little time off, and we'll visit again soon, all right?
Okay. Thanks, Dom.
There he goes. Jory Collins joining us here on the Bison Media Zone today. North Dakota State women's basketball coach with the overview of what the last month has brought with 3 new additions. We'll break. We come back. Get you ready for a busy Bison sports weekend and wrap up the Bison Media Zone. We'll do that. We come back right after this. Back here on the Bison Media Zone, the big news out of the FCS yesterday, South Dakota State starting quarterback Mark Gronowski announced he's returning for his, as it is, 4th season of eligibility at South Dakota State, the reigning Walter Payton winner, national champion 2 times over. There were overtures to potentially transfer, but Gronowski will return and quarterback the Jackrabbits, who will bring a 29-game win streak into the 2024 season. SDSU opens up the 2024 campaign. They'll take on Oklahoma State. Reminder, the Jacks play in Fargo in the middle of October. But Gronowski will be back. The only time that they didn't make the national championship game with him there was 2021, when he missed the entire season because he had the ACL tear, and that season the Jacks lost in the semifinals to Montana State. So he'll be back next season. Some baseball news to tell you about. We have 3 weeks to go in the regular season on the Summit League standings, and they're getting awfully crowded with 3 weeks remaining. As you start the weekend, St. Thomas has the lead over Omaha. The Mavericks came in here and won 2 of 3 against the Bison. The other game ended in a tie, as you see North Dakota State sit in 3rd, with the Jackrabbits in 4th. One note on Oral Roberts. The Golden Eagles might be turning things around. They beat Oklahoma last night. Oklahoma's ranked 22nd in the country. And this reminder, ORU ends the season with St. Thomas. That games are in St. Paul. The Bison will get St. Thomas this weekend for 3 games at Newman Outdoor Field. Monster games for Tyler Oaks' team as they try to move up the standings in the Summit League baseball race. That'll do it for this week's edition of the Bison Media Zone. Our thanks to Jory Collins for joining us. If you missed it, you can podcast it available at Inforum.com and Apple iTunes. We'll be back next week. Thanks for joining us on the Bison Media Zone on WDAY Xtra.